Meaning. What is it? Zane, this week I've been listening to your hand-selected album, Remain in Light by Talking Heads. Why? Don't you know I only have 5 minutes tops? How in the heck am I supposed to cram a review of this pivotal album into only 5 measly minutes? Sorry, it's been a long week, and honestly, Remain in Light has not been a thoroughly calming experience. Now, that doesn't mean that it hasn't been enjoyable, but that also doesn't mean that it has. What do I mean? Good question. If I said that I mean the embodiment of spiritual slumber in a rancid tumult of overdrawn philosophy, would you know what I mean? What if I said that I mean a man who listens to the wind, while he subtly changes his face over decades, while digging to the center of the earth, while looking at his hands, while moving the world on his hips, and he's still waiting? Would you know what I mean then? You recommended this album, so I'll just assume that you do. I was initially frustrated with this album. In the world of metaphor and symbolism, there are songs like Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater Revival, a song about social injustice and the privilege of those in power in America. There's a thin layer to peel off to get to the message, but a layer nonetheless. And you can't tell me there's not a layer, because there are plenty of people out there who blare this song while they stand at the bed of their lifted pickup truck waving their American flag. Sorry, I'm getting off topic. All I'm saying is, if you take a moment to listen, you can easily discern the meaning. Then there are songs like Exquisite Dead Guy by They Might Be Giants, a song about an exquisite dead guy outside my high-rise apartment, hanging from a skyhook. It's an exquisite dead guy. Metaphor? No, exquisite. It's weird, but you don't need to spend the rest of your day picking apart the song lyric by lyric to understand what it's about. You can just let it be, as you'd let an exquisite dead guy be. But what is this album about? I don't know. I've spent a good bit of my week trying to figure that out, and I don't know. The tracks on Remain in Light are prismatic. I know there's a meaning to each one, but every time I turn a song over in my head, I see a different color, a different meaning. And those meanings aren't always complementary, and some of them I'm just completely lost on, like Born Under Punches.
Take a look at these hands! They're passing in between us.
Whose hands? Why are they passing between us?
And the heat goes on.
What's the heat? Why does it go on? I feel like parts of this song make sense, but I can't make a cohesive sense of the whole. Once in a Lifetime is one of my favorite songs, period. It has such an interesting rhythm and lyrics that are just bizarre enough. I felt pretty confident in this song being about drifting through life on autopilot, with water being time that continually flows on, even underground, without our awareness, interspersed with these televangelist-inspired verses. But then Burns himself has to go on and say, and in the chorus, this same man seems to have found blissful surrender coming out from underwater, water washing over him, blissful surrender in the Islamic sense. Wait, is he finding bliss in coming out of the water, or in surrendering to the water? And where does Islam factor into this? Houses in Motion is thankfully easy. It's about walking down the street to visit mobile homes. And then, getting bored and digging to the center of the earth to dance.
In the center of the earth. I'll be down in there. Move it!
Seen and Not Seen is such an unsettling song, and I love it. Burns' monotonous delivery of the lyrics about a man convinced he can change his facial structure merely by focusing on an ideal image in his head is haunting. The man he depicts feels so out of touch with those around him, and this man strives to find connection in altering his outward appearance. Finally, something that makes sense and is relatable, yet still a bit cryptic and weird. Right up my alley. Listening Wind is another clear song about a Native American disgusted with what the colonizing Americans have done to his people, so he commits some vague act of terrorism. Wrapping up the album is The Overload, about the insignificance of man? This album has made me realize that I am far too caught up in trying to discern meaning. It was initially hard for me to just sit and listen to this album because I kept asking, what does this mean? And what does that mean? After I allowed myself to just relax and listen to the music, I had a much more enjoyable listening experience, and I'm giving this album a 4 out of 5. Zane, I'd love to sit down and talk about what you gleaned from this album. I feel like it does have a lot of different meanings, and you can interpret it a lot of different ways, and that's one of the strong suits of it. I'm also looking forward to the day that you eventually roll your wildcard album. It is also heavily influenced by African music. I'm sure we'll get there one day, but Zane, I'm looking forward to your album next week. It's dark and spooky because it's 11 o'clock at night.